Setting up the Kobalt 10-inch table saw, model KT1015. Open the box from the top and remove the items exposed on the upper tray one by one until it is empty, and then remove the upper tray. Remove the loose items in the lower tray and then cut the corners of the box with a knife so that way the base can be exposed. We now start the assembly process with the lower right leg assembly marked J. For this we will attach the two wheels. The leg assembly J will have two washers and a nut on each side of the wheel holders. Remove the washer and nut on the outside and leave the interior washer. You can then mount one of the wheels. Ensure that the wheel is oriented correctly so that way it does not rub against the leg. There's a longer neck that should be pointed in. The three prongs on the wheel should be pointed out. Make sure that this is nice and snug on there. You should also inspect the washer to make sure it doesn't get caught on the throat of the bolt. When that is completed, do the same thing on the other side of the lower right leg assembly. Attach left cross piece R to left front leg M and rear leg N with the 1 3/8 inch bolts. You can find the two bolts in the plastic bag with parts. Attach left leg end S into the leg assembly from step 3. Secure with 1 1/2 inch cap screw and nut. The feet on the left leg end S should face to the outside left. With table V still in lower packing tray, attach two handles, I1 and I2, to table V with the 1 1/2 inch cap screw and nut. Square and round holes can be aligned together. Attach leg assembly to table V. Insert spacer DD between legs and secure with 3-inch carriage bolt AA and nut EE. Note: cut zip tie securing the pre-assembled upper leg in place. Install the wheel assembly from step 2 to leg assembly installed in step 6. Insert spacer DD between legs and secure with 3-inch carriage bolt AA and a nut EE. Raise the narrowest part of the stand to help align the holes. Insert spacer DD between legs and secure with 3-inch cap screw and nut. Note: do not over tighten. Cut zip tie securing pedal. Grasp handles and tilt table saw back onto wheels. Remove table saw from packing tray. Let machine stand and tighten all screws. Important. Release height adjustment locking lever and tilt blade to 45 degrees to release and remove packing material under motor. Install height adjustment knob FF and hex bolt GG to height adjustment wheel. This saw is shipped with the riving knife in lowered position for non-through cuts. Riving knife must be placed in raised position to attach anti-kickback pawls and blade guard for all through cut operations. Unscrew riving knife lock knob with fingers, then push on loosened knob to release riving knife. Grasp riving knife and pull towards the right side of the saw to release it from spring-loaded riving knife clamp. Notice the different riving knife height positions. Position the riving knife in the raised position with the through cut position level with the table. Caution: to work properly, saw blade teeth must be pointed down towards the front of the saw. Failure to do so could cause damage to the saw blade, the saw, or the workpiece. Make sure blade is turned right way. Remove blade wrenches from storage area. Install blade and washers, then apply nut to shaft. Place open end wrench on flats of arbor shaft. Insert closed end wrench over blade nut. Holding both wrenches firmly, push closed end wrench to back of machine. Make sure blade nut is securely tightened. Do not over-tighten. Reinstall the throat plate. Check all clearances for free blade rotation. To install throat plate, slip tab into slot at back of saw and push down to secure in place. There are 5 screws pre-assembled to the table located under the throat plate, which can be used for leveling the throat plate if necessary. These 5 screws should not be used to fasten the throat plate to the table. They are for leveling purposes only. Installing the anti-kickback paws. Unplug saw, raise blade by turning height adjustment wheel clockwise, place riving knife in raised position, press and hold the right side of anti-kickback paws. Align slot and anti-kickback paws over center slot of riving knife. Push anti-kickback paws down until it snaps into place and release button. Pull up on anti-kickback paws assembly to make sure it is secured to the riving knife. With front of blade guard raised, hook back end of guard onto rear slot of riving knife. Push front down until it is parallel to table. Lock blade guard in place by pushing lever down. If blade guard is not parallel to table, riving knife is not in raised position. Loosen rip fence by lifting front and rear locking levers. Place it across the table and lock levers to secure in place. The table can be adjusted by loosening the locking lever and pulling the table out and then retightening the locking lever. Nestled inside the rip fence is the push stick that comes with the saw. It's a good place to keep it so that way you always know where it is. The saw also comes with a miter gauge, which can slide in the miter slots. You loosen the knob and it will snap to 15-degree increments easily. The outfeed support can be pulled out with both hands grasping And you can install these bolts in order to keep the outfeed support from being pushed all the way in. If the outfeed support is pushed all the way in, you will not be able to operate the rip fence. This table saw was designed to be a worksite saw, and for that it needs to be able to travel. You can disconnect many of the parts that project out from the table saw and house them inside the table saw on their different clip-on positions. The anti-kickback paws have their holder on the right side of the saw inside a rectangular opening. The blade guard can be locked onto the same side of the saw. It connects to two metal brackets. The miter gauge and the rip fence connect to the left side of the table saw. They both click into the gray plastic, which fits them snugly. Before transporting, be sure to lower the riving knife, so when the saw is lowered, it will go below the throat plate. The extension cable can be wrapped around these three prongs and then snapped onto itself. Put away and the table saw cleared, you can grab the handles, unlock it, and raise it up to a side position. Make sure to re-engage the lock when upright to prevent it coming unfolded without notice.